Hi friends, it's Becky, and I just wanted to do a quick and easy project using some of my favorite beads from this Peach Sorbet bargain bead box. I know a lot of folks have started getting the most recent bead box, the September one. I haven't got mine yet though. It doesn't get here until Monday. And I wanted to make sure that I got this project out of my system before I get distracted by the new beads. And so some of my favorite things that we got in here were these pink rhodonite beads. I just love this color of pink. It's one of my favorite, this dusty pink. And so I'm going to be using these. I'm going to probably put them in groups of 3 in a pretty short necklace. I like collar or choker length necklaces, but I like them with little dangles. So we're going to have these little guys be some dangles. I've got some jump rings and a lobster clasp for my stash. I grabbed these little teeny floral bead caps from the bargain bead box, and then I've got some spacers. These are just little gold spacers. They actually came in the companion bundle that I got, but you can get any of these spacers that you want with that. And I set aside a couple of beads for some earrings to go with it because this is going to be a quick and easy project, and then we're going to have sort of a quicker payoff than some of the longer sorts of projects that I'm doing this month. I am taking a break from a very long session of making links for beaded chain links. So this is going to be something that I could say, hey, I made this today, and then I can wear it, and I'm just going to rock it, and it's going to be fantastic. So this is what I wanted to do, and then I can get back to making my links because links take a while. And so also, just something easy, something quick. For my tools, I've got my chain nose pliers for opening and closing my jump rings. I've got some wire cutters for cutting my wire, and I've got my magical crimper and some 2x2 crimp tubes for crimping my beading wire. And I like using these because then you don't have to use a crimp cover, but use any kind of crimp that you are comfortable and like using, and you might want to include a crimp cover if you use a different type of crimper. I'm going to use this pink tourmaline color of soft flex wire. It looks like I've used most of it, but I will definitely still have enough to be able to make a necklace with it. So let's start from the middle. Actually, no, let's start by putting some jump rings on our leaves. All right, so opening and closing jump rings. You're going to use your pliers for this, and what you want to do is hold one side steady and then twist with your pliers. So I'm just going to use this to hold that steady and then open it like that. And once it's on there, you hold that side steady again and twist it back closed so that those two ends meet up. So that's jump ring basics. You can also, if you have one of those jump ring rings, that's another tool that you can use besides like another pair of pliers, or in that case, I'm just using my crimper. And it's because it's got these things on the side here. You can, let me grab this. You can just stick that there into the side and twist it open like that. And then you don't have to worry about picking up and putting down a tool when you're doing it. I just don't ever think of picking this up and using it when I'm doing it. I just decided to do it for the tutorial. There we go. That's nice and closed. But yeah, I want this jump ring on these leaves because then when I string them, they will lay correctly so that you can actually see the leaves instead of being like to the side or something. All right, so that does take some practice to use one of these, but if you've never used one of these or you've gotten them and you've been like, what do I do with that? I don't know what to do with that. That's how you use it. I also always constantly am losing these. So like, that's another reason why I just grab something else to hold on to it on the other side. But yeah, let's get these leaves all set and ready to go, and then we will start stringing. I'm gonna do the leaves that I pulled out for earrings as well. Let me get these set. That way I don't have to do this later. I can do this thing all at the same time. That's not quite meeting up. There we go. Wait, that's not open enough to get that on there. There we go. A little bit more. Close that up. All right, perfect. Okay, now we can get started. Let me move these tools out of the way. And since I'm not sure exactly how long I want it to be, I'm going to start from the center. And let's just do a section of, or close to the center. I'm going to do a section of these rhodonite beads. I just want these little bead caps on either side of my little sections where I've got 1, 2, 3, like that, and then a little bead cap on the other side. The bead cap, I want the curved point going towards my section. And then I'm going to stick one of my leaves right there between that section of rhodonite beads and the next section. So let's get some bead caps. Outside bead cap, 1, 2, 3. Outside bead cap, and you don't need these bead caps. I just thought it might be fun to add a little extra bling. A little teensy tiny bit of bling. Why are you not hanging right? I think I might need larger jump rings, something that will give me more space between the top of my leaf and there. Okay. Now I don't have to unstring this. I can just open up my jump ring. Or I mean, I could. Yeah, I could. I just realized that was going to be way more fiddly than I needed it to be. All right, so those were 5mm jump rings. I'm going to jump up to 6mm and see how it sits with this one before I swap out all of the others. All right. Let me put this one next to it. Because they're not going to be loose, but then I also don't want my leaves to be like twisting up weird and not hanging right. So I thought this was going to be quick and easy. And it is still not hanging quite right. They're going to be twisty. All right, I have an idea. This is not going to be quick and easy. I was going to just do that. But what I think I'm going to do instead is I'm going to leave these jump rings on. I'm still going to be doing this. And I'm going to put a smaller bead. I'm going to grab a smaller bead and pop it on either side of our thing. Now these little Czech glass beads, they came in the one of the companion bundles. This was version 1. And so I'm grabbing those. I could just use some of these spacers instead. And honestly, that might end up being the best. No, let's do these little beads. Let's do them. See how this looks or fits with those little beads in the way, so that these will go. I'm going to try it with the little beads. One, two, three. Oh, so far so good, I think. Come on, buddy. Let me get these this next section of rhodonite beads on here. And I think my favorite part about that is they are the same color, the same kind of pink. Perfect. Okay. So then I'm going to be hanging my next bead on here. I'm going to swap this 6mm jump ring back out for the 5mm, since they don't need to be 6mm, and I don't want to swap out all of the rest of them, but I do want there to be some consistency. I'm going to just put this back on here now that I don't have to use the larger one. All right. Perfect. And now that I know that those are going to work great, let's get these guys out here. Let's get our little dusty pink Czech glass beads, little 4mm beads on each side of that. Bloop, bloop, bloop. All right. I need you to be in your own little pile, friends. There we go. Now let's do one of these. You don't need to be on here. 1, 2, 3. So I like to leave in things like that where something that I had planned in my head didn't work and I needed to make a correction, because a lot of my friends who watch my channel have mentioned how useful it is to see how I might troubleshoot something when it goes wrong, or how I might correct something that didn't work out in the design process. So that's why I usually leave those things in instead of editing them out or pretending like I'm perfect at designing things right from the get-go, because I am not perfect. And I think that that's just fine to not be perfect. All right, there we go. So you are always free to change your mind about things. I am 100% loving this so far, though. I'm so pleased that it is working out now that I added those beads in. All right, I'll put a link to my unboxing of that, what is it called? The companion bundle. Because when I do that, I show y'all the product code, the number, the label on the bags, so that you can go check out Beadbox Bargains and see if they have any available. Just in case you were like, well, hey, actually, I'd like some of these beads, even though they didn't come in the bead box. And then you can just check that out, see if they have any, pick some up if you would like. I'm going to be putting these little spacers in between my sections of 3 beads. Now for the rest of this is the front, this is the middle, and this will be the front of my necklace. So I'm just going to go up, doing one side, and then once I know how many of these sections I want, then I can cut my wire and start stringing the other side. So this is the first half here that I'm going to do with y'all here. All right, we got that on there. Let's put our spacers and then our bead caps. One, two, three. We have a little bit of background noise, but that's just the noises of people living in the house that I live in. So I hope that that's not too distracting for you. I left my door open. Because there is a dog outside and I wanted to be able to hear her when she wanted to come back inside. And if I close my door, it makes it more difficult for me to do that. So far, so pretty. I think 2 more sections will probably do. I'm going to do a fit check after I add 2 more. And when I do the fit check, I hold this in the center of where I want the necklace to be, and then pull this other side up around there and see where it hits. That's how I do that. So here's that second section that I was talking about. 1, 2, 3. I like doing like groups of 3 or groups of 5. It makes my brain happy to see them like that. It really, really does. All right, now I've got these guys on here. Let me see. I'm probably going to be adding 1 or maybe 2 more, but I just want to double check my fit. That leaf in the middle. Yes, 2 more sections. All right. So that ends up with me having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sections of 3 on each side. And I'm really hoping that I am saving enough beads for the rest of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Because I just realized I've got to do the same thing on the other side. So that's going to be this section. It's going to be this section. It's going to be this section. This section. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus this one here, that's 9. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Aha, I'm gonna have enough. Hooray! And if I wasn't gonna have enough, I would probably grab some more of these and just do along the back side with them, but I am gonna have enough for this design. Makes me very happy. Ooh, but am I going to have enough of these bead caps? Because I'm going to need 1, 2 for that one, 1, 2 for that one. It might be because this is about the back side of my neck that I'm going to need to just skip the bead caps and do my spacers only. Okay. Yeah, let's do spacers only from here on out. So the last 2 sections, just the spacer between my sections of 3. Yeah, that's how I'm gonna do it. It'll be behind my neck, nobody will see it. And it will mean that I'll get to use my bead caps on the other side. One, two, three. Right. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right. Now, I know this is as long as I want it to be. This is just one half of it. So I'm going to go ahead and make myself a little loop here with my crimp that I can attach my clasp to later, because I'll just use a jump ring to attach it. So I can just make myself a little loop right here at the end of my wire. By putting on my crimp bead and then folding the wire over and putting it back through like that. And if you haven't seen a magical crimper, like I said, it's my favorite way of crimping because it takes this little crimp tube and it turns it into a nice little round ball of crimp. And you do that by centering the crimp in this round concavity in the middle of the crimper. Make sure it's centered, don't squish it yet. Then you give it a little squish and it compresses all of those corners, not the middle. And then you turn it at a different angle, about a right angle to that. Give it another squish, give it another squish. And while you're doing this, if you look at it, it's gonna look a little mangled, just a little mangled. Not too mangled. But then if you keep going around, keep squishing it from different angles, and I'm letting go and squishing. It just may not look like I'm letting go and squishing on all of these. Then it smooshes down those rough edges, those sharp edges from when it did that first squish, and it gives you a nice little ball of crimp that looks like. There we go. Can I just snip a little more off of that so it's not poking out of that bead when it's up against it. Why are these not snipping? There we go. That's better. You can snip this right next to the crimp if you wanted to as well. All right, so now that I've got that side crimped, I can start stringing on the other side. But I want to make sure that I've got the right amount of wire for this. Yeah, let's just take this off the spool and I'll string from here. And what am I doing here? Grabbing a couple of these and a leaf, because this is where we're at, is we are getting our leaves on. section of 3. Oh, that's a little rough. That's fine. These two guys. Another section of 3. And so from here on out, it's just going to be my little sections of the rhodonite beads until I get to the end. You know what? I should put the other rounds on there before I put that bead cap on. That would be the smart thing to do. Sometimes I get going and I forget what order I'm putting the beads on. I cannot be the only person who does that. Cannot be the only person who does that. Oof, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Those two are stuck together, so I don't know why I keep grabbing them instead of these who are rugged individuals. Nope. They are strong, independent spacers who don't need no partner. So even with the troubleshooting, it still ends up being quicker than making a bunch of beaded links. Don't get me wrong, I love doing the beaded links. It is a great way to get wrapped up in like the zen of things, but sometimes you just need a quick and easy project, something that gives you that sense of accomplishment, something that lets you say, I made that. And it's a lot of times for me, that's going to be earrings. I love making earrings for that. Something that is small and simple and easy to make. But sometimes it's a strung project like this. Sometimes the strung project isn't as easy as you thought it would be when you first started because you run into troubles or you're not quite sure how to put the beads together or what to put in between them or something like that. In which case, stringing it up, seeing if you like it, and then restringing it if you need to. Stop and start a couple of times until it pleases you. That's usually the way to do that. Sometimes the beads are just not working that day. They are working just fine for me today, though. As 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I think that one's that one, and this one's this one. Maybe I could have actually used the bead caps on the other end there, but I'm not going to unstring all of this and add them there. I'm just going to make sure that this side matches it, and then maybe I'll have some extra bead caps for things. These are these teeny tiny ones. They are sweet, petite, and very pretty. All right, let's match this up to the side. See where I'm at. Okay, so the bits from here on, these last 3, I'm just separating with the spacers so that we're even on that side. That's what we'll do. One, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let me end with a spacer. Ta-da! Feels simple. There was a little bit of a will this work or will that work going on. I'm gonna use that 6mm jump ring that I used before. I'm gonna use that as the other end of the closure, or the other end of my thing. I'm just putting those ends together there. All right, let's put that through here. Ooh, I want my crimp on first, and then we'll go through this ring. I could attach the ring after I make my loop. That's what I'm gonna do with my lobster clasp anyway. Let's just have that go through like that. It's just the order in which you do it. Doesn't really matter that much. It's whatever's easier for you to do at the time. For me, it was, I made that decision and I wanted to close the jump ring, so I did it now, rather than waiting until after and closing it around there. All right. Got these little Zuron. These are like micro snips, specifically for getting in real close in tight spaces. So that worked so much better this time. They snip right at the very ends. All right, closure almost done. We're almost done. We have our closure that we want. Don't worry, guys. And then we'll do our earrings. The earrings are almost partially done because while I was playing around with doing simple loops, I made a couple of links with those rhodonite beads. And so rather than taking them apart and doing links with y'all, I'm just going to, they're simple loops, and I'm just going to use the simple loop links that I already made to make my earrings. And there we go. Super pretty, pink and green. Favorite. One of my faves. But yeah, this is what I was saying. I was playing around with simple loops and making them with some of these rhodonite beads. And so I decided to go ahead and just keep them just as they are instead of snipping off the wire and doing it a different way. So what I'm going to do with this, though, is now that I've got this link, and simple loops are great for this, is I can just swing that open like that, attach my jump ring on my leaf, swing that closed, and it's already got a little loop up here at the top that I can put an ear wire through. And sometimes I like really big, fancy earrings, and sometimes I like something simple and sweet and easy to wear, like that. Simple and sweet, that's the name of the game on this. But yeah, we've got some simple loops that we made there. I'm going to swing that open, get this guy connected, swing it closed, and then get this ear wire on here. I think the earrings were the easiest part of this project, if I'm going to be honest. And again, I was just playing around with some links. If you want info on links and all of that, I did a recent video demonstrating simple loops and wrapped loops. And I'll put a link to that in my description below. It's part of my project for doing beaded chains this month that I wanted to do one of those, but here we go. Simple, easy. I am so ready for the next bargain bead box, but not quite ready to say goodbye to the August box yet, especially since I have one of the companion bundles that came with it. As far as the companion bundles and when you might expect the companion bundle for the September kit, usually they list them for availability on the Beadbox bargain site about the same day that they put the extras of that bead box up for sale. So, you can get, an extra box, or you can get extra shell beads or extra of some of the findings. They'll have those available for sale, and they usually wait to list those until after everything has been sold and marked as delivered, so that they are able to list what they have in availability without having to pull from it to replace something that might be missing. So it's usually maybe like the week after everybody gets their box that you'll see those extras go up for sale, and they'll usually announce it in the Beadbox Bargains Facebook group, or they will send out an email on their newsletter. So if you're not signed up for the newsletter, that's a great way to get notified that they have one of the companion bundles. I love getting them because it just expands what I can make with it, and usually they are so well coordinated with what we get in the bargain bead box. To me, it's always worth it to get them, and very often they will sell out, like right as soon as they get put up there. Within the same day, they'll sell out. If they're very popular, they'll put together a version 2, maybe a version 3. I have seen a version 4. It doesn't happen every month, but it's something to keep in mind, keep an eye out for, and you'll be pretty pleased with that. But this is one of my favorite things right here. I love it. They do have extras of that bargain bead box, the Peach Sorbet bargain bead box, on the Beadbox Bargains site. If you didn't subscribe and you didn't get it, they have extras, so you can go get one if you would like. Anyway, I hope you all are having a fantastic weekend, and I will see you later. Happy beading!